We're back. We are back. Snipes, of course. Of course. Who's that? Who's here? Of course. Who's that? Who's here? Hey, welcome back. Oh, I don't know if Arcane is coming back.
Wow.
Yeah, we got sniped.
That's what I figured. Did the link get out somehow?
Maybe when I was screen sharing.
Oh, yeah. They're always watching.
It's crazy. I don't know why. I mean, to me, we're definitely not that important.
Yeah, that only proves when they snipe that they're afraid of something. I mean, why else snipe somebody why snipe a channel that's harmless, you know? Almost like they're assigned.
I wonder why he couldn't kick me when I went on there and a little fire under that pervert. He couldn't kick me for some reason. Then he left.
Who was it?
Same one. Tim the pervert ass man. I don't know. I think he can see it or something, or he might have some malware or something. I don't know. Ask Brian. What does he think?
I just got in. Go ahead, guys.
You ready?
Joe, you got it.
Yeah.
Share controls, man. I'm gonna stay monitoring this.
Yeah, there
people
must have been a screen share. I don't know why they have to do that. I mean, what does it prove except that they're...
Of course you know why they have to do that.
Yeah, they're assigned.
Well, what more do they have, honestly?
They can't
What
have
more
a
can they
light.
do?
Yeah.
They can't prove the ball. They can't refute the flat earth. It's what their eyes show them every time you step out their door. So what more can they do but troll, man? It's sad and pathetic. But I think it speaks for itself, really, at this point. Oh, wow, you sniped a hangout. You're tough. Wow.
Yeah, it proves absolutely nothing.
Right. We're still here.
Yep. I mean, they keep sniping and we keep starting new hangouts. What, you know, where does that end?
I said I'll be impressed when they snipe the hangout and then prove that the earth is a ball. That'll be impressive.
I wonder also if they're getting any links from somebody who's a double agent, so to speak, on the flat out elected Google Plus group.
Hmm.
You just never know.
Is the link being put on the flat out elected page?
It has been. I'm told I never get it from there. I always get the the invite, when they add me to the panel, but they use that when somebody else wants to join. They'll say, you got to join the G Plus group. And the problem is that, sometimes you're going to get, there's over 100 people there. There's going to be somebody who will pass out a link, I think.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of
what
that.
happened. I think when I was sharing Screens Arcane, I think it showed the link, and they just copied it from there.
Yeah.
We're constantly being watched, so whatever.
Isn't that pathetic? That's pathetic.
Yeah, and we know from the other day that P. Mars was on the group. No, I didn't know he was there. I wouldn't have expected him to be there, but somehow he was in the group and he passed it out.
No joke. I watched it happen.
He gave it to Fanny, right?
That's what we're seeing.
Because they both lied to me then. Fanny said he obtained it somehow and gave it to P. Mars and told him not to spam with it. Or snipe or whatever the term was.
And he thinks it's all funny. You know what I mean? He doesn't understand.
Yeah. They both lied to me. And then they're incensed that I turned on them somehow. Go figure.
That's okay. They got a little funny thing happening in their computer right now that they don't know about.
Awesome. Oh.
Payback's hard. You know what? I'm just tired of the way these guys are. Come on. Can't they be grown up, and if they want to discuss this, discuss it?
Oh, don't say grown up. That sends them into a hissy fit.
I don't know.
People don't like being asked to grown up.
And you got to also watch when you guys are screen sharing. If you guys are swapping stuff back and forth, all I got to do is get one split second of it when you're going back and forth, and they can grab whatever. See, just not showing. But since you're going from one thing to another, sometimes it shows real quick. They're trying. They're trying to do it.
Yeah, that's just pathetic. And even if they didn't mean anything by jumping in, didn't technically snipe it, they still disrupted it and they thought it was funny and that I don't have a sense of humor. But what I don't have is a sense of tolerance for little toddlers that think it's funny to go, scribble with their crayon on your nice painting.
Right.
So what you been up to, Brian?
Not much. We're just packing up boxes today.
What you packing for? You're not moving, are you?
Yeah, we want to move houses. We want to move out of this place.
Oh, okay.
So I'm getting ready.
Just
My stepdaughter's back in with us, so we might get a bigger place.
You trying to sell then, or what?
No, just moving along, getting a bigger place. That's it. No selling.
Oh, how does that work?
You just don't sell.
You just leave it?
No, we don't own this one.
I'm gonna say, it's like, wait a minute,
Right.
Maybe you just don't want to say. Okay.
No, I'm good.
Yeah, that's the nice thing. The bad thing about home ownership, well, one of the bad things, one is the mortgage you'll never get out from under, and even if you did, you wouldn't own your land because you have to pay taxes. But the other
Or
thing,
your ex-wife takes everything. Yep.
But the other thing is that you can, if you own, you can't just move when you need to. You have to try to sell your house, which is really
or rent it out. One of the two,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why my properties are rentals, the one I own, and I live in a house that I rent. it's actually cheaper for me here in the Dominican to rent this house. I have a condo being built that I probably could move into, but we're not going to. We're going to put it up for sale when it's completed. And I don't want to be in a prison mortgage. I've been there.
Right.
I've had houses where I couldn't just get up and leave because you're stuck. It's a prison. You don't
own it anyway.
And you don't own it. On your deed it says resident. It calls you a resident of the property.
Yep. People don't realize what that word means.
Well, yeah, and I studied, the blue book of law, and the word registration means to sign over. So when you when you sign registration papers for a vehicle or for anything,
Handing everything over. You're right.
you're giving it to them. That's what registration means in the blue book of law. It means to hand over. Person, the word person means incorporation. And that's why when the police check your person, they're checking your incorporation. And that's why your birth certificate and your driver's license and your government papers are all in capital letters, because you are an incorporation. They own you. You are actually, on the back of your birth certificate is a bond number, and you are actually traded on the stock market.
Correct.
If you take that bond number on the back of your birth certificate and Google it, you'll find out who owns you. I'm owned by a Chinese aeronautic company, some big airplane company out of China. My friend, I was showing my friend the study, because as I was studying it, I was showing him, and he was like, wow, that's crazy, Rand. I have a twin brother. See who owns me. And it came up, you're going to freak out, but it came up that he was cloned. And it showed the cloning facility. And so we Googled it, and it was a company called Life Systems out of New Jersey. Rose and I did a search on it and located the building and I'm not going to get into the details, but it said when we Googled his bond number, it said he was cloned with the cloning facility information. Then we went to the documents, the PDF file, and it showed it had his initials, Lonnie, blah, 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 and his brother. So it said species 1, and it had Lonnie's initials, and species 2, and it had his brother's initials. And it had their ages, and it also had the year that it said he was cloned, and it was 1986, and he was in prison at the time.
Wait. Repeat that again, because I understood it. That's why I want to make sure I got that right.
Okay. So I did a study on the bond number on the back of your birth certificate.
Right.
And as I was Googling my bond number, it talked about how I am owned by a Chinese corporation, an airplane corporation, aerodynamics or aerospace out of China. And so my friend was like, oh, that's cool. Check my bond number. So I checked his. He's a twin, and his name's Lonnie. So I go, okay, Lonnie. And I even put Lonnie on a 3-way phone call with Rose to verify it. And he said, yeah, this happened. And I could get Lonnie in here again just so that he would say, yeah, that's true. We took his bond number and we put it in Google, and it came up a cloning facility out of New Jersey called Life Systems. And we went into the PDF file on his name, on his bond number, and a whole file came up saying that he was cloned in 1986. And it said that it had his initials, Lonnie. I won't go and give you his whole name.
Right.
But it gave the 3 initials, and it gave his date of birth, and it said 01. 01 meaning he was the firstborn of the twins, which is true. Then it gave his brother's initials, 02, with the birth date. And they called them species.
Was it a different birth date?
And also the birth date, species, and referred to them as being species. So with that being said, it freaked him out, but it said he was cloned, and so it gave the cloning date was 1986, and he was like, that's crazy. I go, why? He says, I was in jail. I was in Hamilton City Bucket, the city jail, that year. I go, oh, wow. And at any rate, yeah, it said 100%. I'm not even lying to you. God is my absolute 100% witness. When we Googled his bond number on the back of his birth certificate, it came up that he was cloned.
See, I've heard of other situations like that to where people state that things have been added on to their social security number, stuff like that, and they got pictures of it's them in a different city, state, at the same time when they're in, you know what I mean? That, and then they get charged for all this stuff. I mean, you're talking about people getting busted for felonies when they didn't do it, or this and that, all because of the cloning thing.
Yeah, it's pretty deep, bro. I mean, when we went through that, Lonnie was like, he was freaked right out. Because I came up that I'm owned by some Chinese aeronautics company, some, I don't know. And so he was excited. He was like, oh, I wonder who owns me. And it turns out that he was cloned. And it came up, well, Rose and I did a study on it. You could ask her. We even did a full Google Earth search of the facility and did a full scan. And you can tell that there's something very suspicious about the facility in the way that it's designed and the way the security systems. And you know how they have ramps where you drive in and it looks like it's going underground? They have ramps on the facility that are going under hills of grass. So it's like a grass area, but you can see that it's a hill. And they have these garage doors that ramp into the hills and take you into these underground facilities. And that was exactly, because I said to Lonnie when we were doing a study, I had Rose on a phone call. I said, Lonnie, what was the name of that facility again? I already knew. And he goes, Life Systems. I go, all right. And so Rose was like, oh my gosh. And we were right there looking at the facility.
Hey, Dave. I think Dave Howard. I think they started.
Hey, hold on a second, man. Hold on, man.
Oh, go ahead.
Hold on a second, Brian. Hey, Rand. G-Man's talking about he's gonna flag you because he thinks that Pillbox just sniped his hangout. I'm trying to tell the guy that it's not us. That we just got sniped too.
Yeah, we got sniped. Why would he false flag us though? Let's not get into that war. My Lord.
He said I should hit Rand with a DMCA. And he's like, Pillbox just sniped me.
What's that got to do with me, number one? But we know it wasn't Pillbox.
Jump into conclusions.
That's
not surprising from him.
Like, why would you involve me? I'm in a hangout. I'm not sniping people. I don't even know how to.
So I should hit Rand with a DMCA.
For what? For what? Why? What have I done wrong?
His room just got sniped by the same guy that sniped our room.
Right, so that means it's us. Right, exactly. They do their research.
Oh, maybe it was, maybe G-Man sniped me then.
I'll just be honest. Tell him I did it.
But did you see the guy though?
No, I wasn't here.
No, what he just did to G-Man was he just sniped everybody. He came in under the name Flat Earth, right? Sniped everybody in there. He must be a hacker of some kind because no one in there gave him the link. They were all stupid. Him, Shani, and Shani's husband were like, I didn't give the link. I didn't give the link. How did you get the link?
Well, so even if they don't hand out the link, if you're somewhat set up in a situation where they stuck something on your computer or whatever,
right?
At that point, they don't need to hand it out. They just need to wait for you to get it. That's all.
Right. So after he sniped him, though, he's like, yeah, I'm here to bring everyone to the knowledge of astronomy and worship the true God Helios. And like he was dead serious.
What?
Like, go watch it. Go watch it. He sniped everyone out the hangout and was like, yeah, I'm here to bring everyone to the true knowledge of astronomy or something like that, and back to worshiping the one true God Helios. And he's like dead serious. Like when I'm telling you these people are satanic Helios slaves, I am not just making fun of these people. These people are really out here. Go watch it.
Why would he say that?
Because he means it. He's an agent for whoever he's an agent for. He felt that he needed to get people on with Helios. So go watch it. It's crazy. These people are sick. They're satanic and they're demon possessed, bro.
Yeah, I see he's got
Well, yeah, but
he's got something live here. What's he got going on here? Is this about us? Sniped by Flat Earth.
No, it was Tim. It was Tim, Bill Bob.
I love G-Man though. He goes sniped by flat earther. Won't happen twice.
Well, the guy, he came in with the name Flat Earth on his thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and they thought they were going to be able to rip into him, and that's not what happened.
Well, they was shocked before they even realized that they had been hacked. He had kicked them out.
Hey, did he have a did the guy that sniped him, did he have a sun emblem
No, he
as
has
his avatar?
no, he has a horse. He came in with the name the Flat Earth Jihad Trojan Horse. And he came in saying, "Worship Ra, the sun goddess."
Wow.
Yeah,
Can't make this stuff up, man.
you can't make it up, bro.
Here's another thing, Arcane. Like I was saying earlier to Rand and all of them, is the thing with G-Man. The reason why I still hold on hope for G-Man and I pray for G-Man is because I've seen him, but this was years ago before I was even an atheist. I have seen certain fruits of the Spirit from him, and I've also seen him accept correction from other believers and be open about biblical topics with other believers as well. But ever since I've became an atheist, I have seen him decline in that area. And his pride has really taken over. So, I still have hope, hope that that he's a child of God, and if he's a child of God, he will be chastised. But I have that hope because I've seen that in the past from him.
Yeah, it's sad because I have hope too, but I'm at the point now where these people have had ample time, and maybe it's just now getting to G-Man's attention to the point where he feels like he needs to address it, and this is the only way he can express himself, because he has so much pride, I guess.
Well,
He has too much
but that's
pride.
the thing.
Well, I don't know. I admit I don't know. Let me just let me think about it for a while before I open my mouth. And I think he's put his mouth before his money, and he's writing checks that his mouth can't cash.
The thing is, though, I mean, when I knew him as a Christian back in the day, he would take, issues like this and discuss them in hangouts with Christians and like discuss it. You know what I'm saying? Like, he wouldn't just automatically hop to making a hangout against those Christians. I mean,
what's happened since then to now, I've noticed there's a lot of pressure. It's been put on him to know science, you know what I mean? And compete with the atheists with their scientific arguments.
He's not competing with the atheists, though. He's siding with them.
Right.
This was my whole concern when he met up with the JD and all them. I even expressed this concern with Rand, told Rand, I'm really concerned that they're going to try to sway him to start attacking the flat earth community. And then it's just funny. Now, I talked to him one-on-one, and he said that never happened, but it's just funny that when, all that was said and done and over with, he starts attacking flat earth.
Yeah, flat earth is a different level, though. It's because the other stuff might be in the realm of debate, right? Let's debate evolution versus design. Let's debate this and that. You see, when you do that, you put them on an equal playing field. You put Christianity or your Bible, or whatever you believe, on an equal playing field when you're debating these topics. But what flat earth does is it removes debate. It's not in the realm of debate. If the earth is flat, all of that goes out the window, especially under the flat earth system that we believe in as Christians, that the Bible describes. We're enclosed. So it removes debate.
Right. There's nothing else. Once you show that the earth is flat, there's nothing else to debate the atheist on. They've got nothing at that point.
Right.
Hey, where was that bond number he was talking about? Because we just pulled out our birth certificates. We're looking for it too.
I won't pull up my birth certificate, but on a Canadian birth certificate, it's on the back. It's a red number. Here, let me get my birth certificate. Just a sec.
Say what?
That would be that one.
So that way people can see what we're talking about.
G-Man subscribed to Knowledge Scavenger. That's good. I'm glad he did that. That's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, well, you got to know that with this thing happening, that there is probably a different reason that he would do that.
Yeah, it's probably not to learn.
I would think that was probably, had nothing to do with wanting to learn. I've had other people sub to me and out of the blue that I don't know, or that I know that they don't like me in chats, but they just want to watch people.
It's a way to fish for something to hold over your head, is what it is.
Right.
Well, at least that's why I said I'm glad, because at least when he is fishing, he's getting someone who is very sound in what they say and they're honest in their approach. He's not going to get someone who's after their ego. Maybe it'd be good for him to watch a lot of Knowledge Scavenger videos. I'm just saying.
Well, sorry, go ahead. No, you can go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say that, like I said, there's been a bunch of people sub to me that I know don't like me at all, but nothing's ever happened. It's just they want to watch so they can record your chat, record your videos. So if you say anything they can piece together into a hit video, they'll do it. They'll just wait for an opportune time.
That's what I said was going to happen to Rand earlier. When Rand was pretty much just saying what they say, I was like, oh gosh, that's a voice piece for them. That's a clip for them.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know how dishonest they are, and they'll go to that length,
I wonder, it sounds like Rand thinks maybe he's talking to us, but he's so far away we can barely hear him.
Yeah, I can't hear him either.
No, he's playing G-Man's Hangout in the background. I'm going to mute you, Rand.
All right, Rand, if you're paying attention, look at this real quick. The numbers down at the bottom here. That's how it is here in the States. I'm wondering if, Knowledge, have you ever seen your...
I'd have to see where it is.
It's in the bottom corner on the left side or the right-hand side facing you, like that.
Yeah, I'll have to see where my certificate is.
Yeah, be careful doing that too, my man.
Yeah,
I got you. I'm not worried.
All right, are you gonna?
If they're pausing.
Are you gonna Google yours? Well, they'll know that you Google it, but I've done it so many times, nothing has ever come of it. Did you Google your bond number? By the way, in that bond number are millions, and in some cases billions of dollars being held by whoever is trading you on the stock market. You're owned as a incorporation within an incorporation. So, you guys are saying you couldn't hear me. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, I have to pick up my microphone like Mark Sargent and put it to my mouth. These microphones look good, but they're not really all that good. Are you doing a search on that now, Brian?
Yeah, I'm getting ready to. Yep.
Okay. I predict you're owned by Chinese people. Most Americans are owned by the Chinese. That's why that $30 trillion Chinese debt, China can come in. That's why you don't own your property, because China can come in and say, get off our property. Any property in America can be overtaken by the Chinese debt collectors. Hey, Justin.
Well, what's happening?
One of the companies that sells our bond numbers is called Brick Street Mutual Insurance Company.
Okay, so they own a piece of you. Who else? There might be a few of them.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at right now, too. I mean, I heard about this before. I dug into it a little bit, but I never realized it was what it is.
Yeah, it's real. That's why there's free man on the land society. You can hand back all your government ID and then sign some papers through a notary and just basically agree not to be a part of their system. So you lose all healthcare privileges. But if you're walking down the street, or you can drive a car with no insurance, no registration,
Correct.
you just become a free man on the land. And a lot of people have done it in Canada. It was very big for a very long time. A guy named Mike Menard, who was huge in the free man on the land. He's all over YouTube, but he has a lot of information on it. And we are it's crazy, eh?
Well, not only do you have to, go through that formal process, but you can't get a job because they're going to ask for your anything that's going to require a social security number. You're pretty much out of luck unless you can have a friend do it for you or set up some sort of fake ID or something. But you have to change a lot about your lifestyle, especially if you're one of those going to go off the grid, live off the land types. It's most of those guys that are doing it.
And also on your bills, on your remittance bills, the remittance part of your bills, your credit card, your electrical, all that stuff. There's a number. I think it's either 86 or 96. I think it's 96. You'll see a number, and it's a part of the debt code with the government, and it's called 96 is your fix, that you can take your bills and sign I agree. And that 96 is the government agreeing to pay your bills. They don't tell you about it, but it's called 96 is your fix. And you can literally sign your initials, and there's a few other things you have to do. I'd have to look back into it, but the government has a thing in the debt and the bill paying system that they operate, where if you know about it, that 96 is on every remittance slip. If you look at your bills and you circle it, you put your initials, you put a little notation saying I accept, and then you mail it back to the government, and they are supposed to pay your bill. Now, a lot of people have done it and it didn't work. Others have done it and it did work. There's some real legal aspects to it that you have to be aware of. But yeah, on all remittance slips, there's the 96, and that literally means that there is a loophole in your debts where the government agrees to pay them, but they don't tell you about it.
I know, we're being sold and swapped and everything, and we don't see a cent of it.
All I have is a copy. I don't have an actual certificate.
Is a number in red?
No, it says copy on it.
No. Oh, okay. What about down at the number we're talking about is down on the, if you're looking at it, straightforward, down on the left-hand side?
No number there. It just says, certification, the signature of the doctor, stuff like that. There's a registrar number, but there's a birth number on my husband's.
Yeah, we got a 4. It's an 8 number. 8 numbers on it.
5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, it has 2 digits and then a dash and then 4 numbers.
Yeah,
on my
that's what mine
husband.
is. Or Mariah's is.
Look at mine again, see if I can find like that.
Here, I'll show you guys. I'm going to share screens, and I'll just show you the 96 is your fix option. I don't know if it's on the American. This is Rob Menard, I told you. He's Canadian. And he diagrams it for you.
Exchange and settlement of bill payment.
It's bill payment here.
This thing that they sent you with that 96, because that 96 is on it, it means it's a remittance. And it has value. It is, in fact, a type of check. So you were back at the high-tech board about truth and justice.
Put a link if you can in the chat so everybody can go check us out if they want.
I found the number, but it's only the first 3 digits.
Oh.
Number 96 on one of your document that you received from, say, the Canada Revenue Agency or utility company or probably even credit card company is going to have that 96. It means that it's a remittance, and thus it is a credit. Now, normally what they want you to do is to return this document that you received with your payment. That's what their instructions is. Now, you'll notice that they demand a check, they want a check, or they imply that they want a check. They leave it up to you to assume that they want a check. What you can actually do, however, because this is a remittance, and this 96, as we'll see in a moment, it actually means something. What you do is you circle it, and you say to them essentially, thank you, I accept this. And you say, accept it. Now, what you're doing is you're saying, I accept that you have given me a remittance, and I want you to apply this value to an account. Essentially, you're going to be drawing on the account that is evidenced by your birth certificate. And you're telling them that this document evidences services, which, because of this 96, is in fact on them. The obligation is theirs to pay it. This is your free jam. This is your apple pie. You'll find that this is what you will see on just about anything that's required for you to exist as a human being in Canada. Your utility payments, phone bills, hydro, water, all of these things are going to be covered in this manner. Because you've got a right to use that revenue, that account, which you previously were unaware of and ignorant of and weren't using. You've got a right to use that account to meet these obligations. Now, it might appear, and some ignorant people will say, well, you're getting something for nothing, but you're not getting for nothing. It is being paid for. It is being paid for because what you do is you then assign it. And you give them a number on the back of your birth certificate. That's the security of your person. It's the revenue receipt. You have to tell them where to go to get their money, don't you?
Okay, so as interesting as that was, you guys can research that on your own if you want. Are you there?
Yep.
Yeah, we're here. We're just looking at what you're presenting.
Interesting though, right? Like that's a whole nother study. Yeah, there's very little I haven't studied.
If my wife,
that is a deep study. If you get into that one, you're gonna be there a while.
all right, got a question. If you want to Google that number, what do you got to type into the Google? Just the number itself and your name?
Just the number.
Yeah, just put in Google, just the number, I guess.
Yeah, I'd be interested in on the Canadian remittance. It has 96. I'd be interested what number is on the corner of American bills that you guys get.
I'm gonna have to get a new one, a new birth certificate to see.
Yeah, I would have to pay to go to the county courthouse a couple hundred miles from here, and from where I was born, and get the actual thing, because this copy only has the first 3 digits.
Yeah, ours has 8 digits in it. That's what I'm seeing on the bottom.
I mean, mine literally has 3 digits, a dash, and then a space. There's nothing else there.
You would think it'd be bigger than that too, because of all the people. How are you gonna?
Yeah.
G-Man is over there on his hangout, act like he's going to take down the entire flat Earth community. I swear he is. This flat Earth has taken a hold of him. You watch and see if this doesn't become his absolute focus, like all of them.
So what, they said they are going to just keep harassing us or get us all copyright striked or something? Or
You can't when we're not doing anything wrong.
yeah.
Well, we'll just fight it. The G-Man is completely out of his mind right now. I don't even know what he's saying. Let's see what he's saying.
That is a question for our team and everybody else who claims to be a part of it. Who is your final authority? Is it Rob Stewart, a man that you are following, which would make that idolatry and a cult of God? Is it our Lord and our Savior Jesus Christ revealed through his word?
This is what you call accusing without any proof.
He's insane.
That sit there in my live chat and call people names, but not even answer the basic questions. I ask scientific questions, no answers. I ask somebody who the final authority is, and all he's going to do is go back to his channel and say this. Flat Earth means the victory is. Flat Earth means sleeping well. Flat Earth means you win. Flat Earth means this. Flat Earth means that. Flat out this and flat out that. What you won't do is don't take it to God's word about anything. The Bible don't support your flat Earth.
He has literally snapped.
And then when I left the room, when it took me out of my own room, he started preaching this flat Earth nonsense. Everything is me. And I'm not any different than anybody in the world. That's what I'm doing. Yeah. I'm that individual in for Jesus Christ, and I'm speaking for Rob Stewart. Rob Stewart is the new Jim Jones on the
He's
air.
nuts.
Yeah, he is funny, man.
Drinking the Kool-Aid. Like, that was the dumbest thing you could ever do. I'm telling you. That was just stupid. But when I do a flat earth video,
I had no idea it was possible to be that stupid. The guy gets sniped by Tim Osman, the most anti-flat Earth demon in history, and he's saying a flat earther did it. The guy's absolutely gone full retard. I'm sorry.
I'm not going to give them.
And then I kept telling him in the chat, hey, you got sniped by Tim Osman, and then because of that, he kicks me out of the chat because I'm trying to help him even know who kicks him out of the...
He's a joke.
Good. Oh, he's so... But the atheists, when the atheists were so right about G-Man, the atheists were absolutely 1,000% right about G-Man, so good for them. At least they're having fun.
This is your channel, so guess what? Time out, buddy. Why don't you go back to your echo chamber when you're in your channel?
Pathetic. Just so pathetic. The dude can't even let someone talk to him. The guy is the biggest... Arcane was right. There's just absolutely no point wasting time with these cowards. Arcane was 1,000% right. And it just gets worse every day. Worse every day. Bro, now we got ball earthers attacking him, and he's blaming it on flat earthers. Could you get any dumber? Really? The dude's got to be the dumbest guy I've ever met in my life. I cannot believe it.
You're saying that that's not the case. But fortunately, when Arcane starts talking and your boss starts talking, I get a totally different message.
Pure crack. Pure crackhead. I'm sorry, you must have a crack problem.
It's just getting Bill talking, contradicting himself up and right. I have enough material now to show you that Bill Box and Arcane is saying one thing and Rand is saying another. I have enough evidence to do that.
He's a joke. He doesn't have nothing because we haven't been doing anything. Unless he's inventing it.
You can't be that stupid. I really think that he's just absolutely the dumbest person that I've ever met. That's the only option. You just have to be fully on stupid to be this ridiculous.
Only two violence on the internet I will even say. And that is Tim, and that is Rand. when it comes to Pillbox and Arcane and some of these other people that I've encountered here on the internet, I think these people are they may not mentally know it, but I think that Pillbox is kind of fell away from the thing. And I think that Arcane is falling away from the thing too. And these people are following the man, and that man is Rob Steven. You remember that little chart they showed me on $5 Electric? I'm going to be talking about that in one of my response videos, where supposedly there's always water above the firmament, and then the sun is below it. That's just ridiculous insane. I'm going to keep saying it. There's water above the firmament, and then you got the sun here going 3,000 miles away from the earth, and you got the moon that's going
Full retard. Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to what happens when your brain turns to mush after 30 years of worshiping the heliocentric lie. You will literally turn into garbage. And this is a perfect example. I've never seen a better example in my life. I don't know what is wrong with this person or what the possible solution is for this human being, but I surely can't help this person. That's all I know.
Maybe we should be moving
Hopefully.
on instead of like now it's said giving him all the attention.
Yeah, probably. I mean, he already proved our point, Rand, so maybe we should come to a conclusion now and just explain what we've seen. And obviously to the intelligent, skeptical audience that we have, a very small truther movement probably already knows what's going on. These people know exactly who sniped him anyway. If you ask the chat knows exactly what's going on. They're not confused.
So the bottom line is this. The second, in the first video, I asked some scientific questions. This video, similar to the first video, no evidence for a bladder. There's absolutely none. But what I am going to do is this. Since I trust Rand and I trust Teal.
Damn right you ain't gonna trust me. I'm the last person that idiot's gonna trust because he already got humiliated, but that's I expected. So yeah, either Teal or Justin or Rand might be able to help him. Maybe you, Brian, but I surely can't help that guy. There's
I won't
no
put up
way.
with it. You know how I am.
Yeah, I can't help the guy. The guy has just gone full retard. I mean, I'm sorry, but I obviously triggered him off the edge again, off the edge of the flat Earth. I'm sorry.
If you won't look at the evidence, I won't even try to do anything. Won't even.
He's
and that rose back will not be allowed to come. None of these people who are showing that they cannot be trusted.
Yeah, we gotta just ignore. I mean, the point's been made, I think.
It's sniping. So now you gotta win that trust back. I'm sorry.
Kind of, Vic. Kind of.
I'm very tempted to try to get the atheist community in here. They're but the problem is, all I'm gonna hear from God elected is before I go into those hangouts is G-Man's in bed with the atheists, G-Man's becoming your atheist, G-Man's an evolutionist. And I don't want to hear that because all of you know that are on it. Participating in evolution is bringing on this week into a irresponsibility. And if he ain't, I'll be doing it on my YouTube channel. So, I also want to ask you this, Rand, you made a video and in the title you put, because I think you know the answer to that, and I would appreciate you put a no at the end of that. All right, if you don't mind, thank you.
It sounds like this dude didn't get enough attention when he was younger.
I wanted to say, guys, I wanted to have more of a conversation, but unfortunately, I can't trust the YouTube community. You guys disagree with somebody, with something that somebody says, you come in the room and get the link and then you want to snipe people. Got a second time. So, I'm end this thing out here. I'm actually going to change the title of this too. In about 15 or 20 minutes, the title of this thing out. TV sniping title, but I'm going to change this. I'm going to investigate who that individual was in my room. And I also noticed something, and somebody can give me a little bit of advice about this. I couldn't kick the person out of the room. And the person couldn't be ejected from the room. Dude, but if somebody can let me know later on in the comment section on what I can do to guard myself against that, that would be great. Today, I will never put the link in the, make it public again. And if I start giving the link out to people and they're sharing the link without my permission, Google Hangouts no more, and the people that they invited will not be allowed to fly over the house anymore. As a precautionary note, to stop this sniping from happening, if this is going to happen. That's all I have to say. So, that being said, Flat Earthers proposed in your court make a video response. Answer my questions. If you're not supposed to trust science, how far is the sun? How hot is the sun? And how do you know it? The moon's effect on the waves in the ocean. How does that work without using science? You're saying that the moon is only 3,000 miles away. That space or that the cosmos is 3,000 around the Earth. You're saying that the Earth is a flat disk, yet we see that even if you go to Iraq, the most powerful telescope in the world, you're not going to be able to see New York. Craters going to move. You understand what I'm saying? So, Rand, I didn't do this to do a personal attack at you. You know I don't like being sniped by those people. You need to talk to your audience. Again, bro, I'm telling you. Do something about your audience, man. Seriously, bro. You gotta hold those dudes accountable. If that dude shows up in your home, you need to rebuke him. See if you guys do it. With that being said, this has been another edition of Christian Required Ministries. I'm going to do another video like this this weekend. How many people in the room? If you didn't get an invite, then that means you're not going to be able to get in. If Teal or Rand is available, I will give them a link. Just so as long as they promise not. Who's Deacon? You know what, Deacon? That wasn't very nice. You want to know what, Deacon? You know what? I can't take nobody out of the chat now, but I'm paying attention to your YouTube videos. So I have all this stuff in my live chats. So, Deacon, if you can't leave a comment tomorrow, you know why. All right. And with that being said, guys, it's been another edition of Christian Department. It's letting you know to reach your point and do what it says. Okay, do it objectively. Answer my questions about the distance of the sun and how they know how far it is. And how many need to ask about the moon and rings and whatnot. Please give me the link. Read your Bible and do what it says.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I don't even know what to say about that guy. Hey, Brian? You there, Brian?
Sorry, I thought I was unmuted. I'm here.
E-Man is nuts.
I know. I don't understand him at all.
Yeah, he just, I like him. I consider him a brother, but
If he would sit back for a week and not run his mouth and just observe what's going on, he might get the hint.
yeah, and he thinks, he's telling me to control my audience. Has he seen the lineup that follows him? Nick Shea, Shanny, David Weiser. I mean, if it gets any worse, please let me know. That is some crazy right there, bro. What's Wes Truther doing? Wes, you want to come in and talk?
I'm gonna eat some dinner. I'll be back in a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Thank God we can barely hear him. He is out of his mind. Here, I'm here. Sorry about that. And now you can hear me yawn and do some work.
Where'd everybody go?
Who is that?
It's me.
Oh, so I guess you and I are the only ones G-Man thinks are saved. I wish people would stop.
I heard that. Did you hear him basically equating gravity to God?
What do you? No, I didn't quite hear that. What was he saying?
Well, he was maybe. I mean, maybe I need to go back and make sure because I don't want to say something that he didn't really say. So I don't know. I'll go back through it and let you know later on. But it sounded like he said something about God is the one causing the rotations or orbits or something like that.
He's just indoctrinated. He just believes everything he was told, and he doesn't know how to not believe it. And until he does the research from a flat earther perspective, in other words, until he looks at our side of the argument from a I wonder if mindset, he's not going to come to the right conclusion.
Well, yeah,
right.
he's got to be open to it, and he's obviously not open to it. Even stated in the hangout that he was in the other day with us, while sitting there trying to disprove flat Earth, stated he has not investigated it. That is like the most foolish thing I have heard. I can't understand how people don't see how foolish that is. And scripture talks about how foolish that is. He that judgeth a matter before he heareth it, it is a folly to him. We are called to search the scriptures like the Bereans to verify or falsify messages presented to us. Unbelievable.
Yeah, and it's real easy to do. I mean, information is everywhere now. Now, with that being said, you want to be careful that you're not, getting filled up with disinformation. But at the same time, I mean, we're Christian.
But that's the thing. I mean, the flat Earth information out there, you can do these experiments that people have done, and you can do them yourself. That shows that flat Earth is true. So it's not just it's science at work that you can actually do the science yourself. It's not just buying into what the elite are telling us.
Yeah, it's you've got to get to the point where you literally look at the power structure of the world. You take a look at where because so let me put it to you this way. If you were Satan, and you wanted to deceive the world, right? How would you do that? What would you use to deceive the world? What would your best platforms be? So let's play this, Eve. Let's think about this.
Well, 1 second, Rand, let me address G-Man real quick in the comments because he's sitting here. I guess he has this idea that one of us went over and sniped his room. G-Man, we got sniped right before you did. There was nobody from over here that sniped your room. Nobody over here really cares enough to snipe your room. Go ahead, Rand.
Yeah, he's going to have to understand that, anytime you get involved, there's somebody that same person snipes or hates even, Patricia Steele and Mark Sargent, and that individual is going after flat earthers. So you got involved with the flat earth community, and he decided to make you a part of his snipe list. Okay, you just have to be careful, I guess. I've been sniped. How many times we've been sniped? Whew, a few times over the last couple of days, right?
A lot, right? And I think, was it yesterday? 3 times in one day? I think it was yesterday.
Okay, so let's play this game. Okay, so let's say that I said to you, Eve, I need you to control and condition and influence the minds of this town. So the town has 1,000 people in it. Tell me where you would put your platforms of influence. How would you begin to control them?
Well, you would have to get control over all the information venues, like mainstream information, which would be like your educational system, your media, things like that. And that is exactly what the elite has control over. So that should be raising a red flag. Actually, this is one of the things that I recognized when I was as an atheist. I recognized as an atheist that the information that is being presented to us is controlled by the liberal left. And that's something that I noticed when I was an atheist, and I thought that raised a red flag to me. I was like, that's interesting there. If it's mostly, left liberals, then it's a one-sided, biased information that's being presented. All you have to do is get a hold of the information, and that's propaganda right there, and you can brainwash people just with the information. That's it. And especially if they also just real quick, especially if they also got it to where the populace is like little worker ants and worker bees for them, where they're constantly busy. And then they've got all these little gadgets and technology where they're constantly busy on those, and they never have the time to even think for themselves.
Okay, so I'm gonna let you lie to these people, but here's what you have to do. Whatever you do, whatever you set into place, your goal has to be to make sure that they never know I exist. So I'm going to give you this town, and whatever you do, you need to. Everything in your power, you need to make them not know I exist and that I created this town. How are you going to do that?
Well, I would have to try to hide or destroy the information that would connect you to it. And of course, we know by scripture that creation is evidence of a designer.
Right. So I would look at, first of all, you would have to know me, of which in this particular scenario you do. And you would have to know how I work, and then you would have to do the opposite of everything I do. You would have to take what I do and manipulate it in order for it to look like it was something else, most certainly not me, and in some cases, maybe even yourself. So.
Right. Manipulation is not just 100% deception. It's typically truth mixed with deception.
Okay, I'm going to tell you a joke.
Somebody. Go ahead. I'm
going to tell you a joke, and I always tell this joke to give an idea of what Satan does, and what the media does, and what politicians do, and what NASA does, and all of them. So here's the joke, and you'll understand why it applies to what's going on in the world. So here we go. So a man is at home, his wife's watching TV, he's reading the newspaper, and he realizes he's ran out of cigarettes. So he says to the wife, I'll be right back. The store's closing at 11. It's 10 to 11. I got to race to the store and get smokes.
Tim Osmond, the most anti-flat in history, and he's saying a flat earther day.
I'm sorry, who's talking? Or somebody's got something
That's
going.
Wes's background, I believe.
No, I'm not saying anything.
No. I can hear your video you're playing. So the man says, I got to go to the store. I got to get smokes. He gets up and races out of the house to go to the store. He goes to the store. He gets there just on time. He gets his smokes. He stands up in front of the store. He has a cigarette. He notices that there's a lot of activity across the street at his favorite bar. So he decides, oh, well, you know what? I'll just go in and grab a quick drink. He goes over there. It's packed. A lot of people in the bar. He decides to have a quick drink. And just 1 second. I'm just going to mute you, Wes. Just give me 1 second. I'm just going to mute you, brother.
I just muted him.
Yeah. And so he goes in the bar and all of his friends are there and there's a bunch of people and they're all drinking and partying. He shoots a game of pool and he notices some really good looking woman at the end of the bar is eyeballing him. And as he looks at her, she looked at him, she smiles. She comes over and asks if they can shoot a game of pool together. So they shoot a game of pool. He buys her a drink. They start drinking together. Time starts to go by. Next thing you know, they're on the dance floor. At the end of the night, she says to him, why don't you come back to my house? And, you know, I got a couple bottles of wine at the house. So he agrees. He goes over to her house and they're drinking and fooling around. And next thing you know, they end up in bed. And he looks at his watch and all of a sudden he realizes it's 3:30 in the morning. And he's like, oh, I got to get home. My wife is going to be freaking out. So he goes in the bathroom. He washes up. He notices she's got a jar of talcum powder, baby powder, on the shelf. So he takes the powder and he pours it all over his hands. And then he goes home. And so he walks into the house, and there she is in the living room, livid, completely angry. And she looks at him and says, where were you? What is this? It's almost 4 o'clock in the morning. And he says, oh, no. You're not going to believe what happened. I got the smokes. I looked at the bar across the street. It was packed. I noticed a lot of my friends' cars were there. I went in. I started drinking, shooting some pool. And this beautiful blonde came on to me. We had a few drinks. We danced. She invited me back to her house. I went to her house. We had sex till like 3 or 4 till 3 in the morning. At 3:30, I look at the clock. I'm like, oh, no, my wife. And so I tell her, okay, I got to go. And I just raced home. And she's looking at him, and she looks at his hands and sees all the powder on his hands and goes, shut up. You were bowling, you liar. And that's exactly what they do.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, Rand, I don't know.
So they make you think. They give you this big crazy story because the crazier the story, the less likely it is to believe. And they hide the truth right in front of you.
Well, and if they give you a bunch of stuff that you can't understand, like dark matter and dark, black holes and all that other good stuff, if they give you stuff that they don't even understand and even admit they don't understand and don't even know what it is and don't even have any proof of any of this stuff, it's just assumptions and assertions just to keep their ball rolling. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, I don't know. It's insane, Rand. And then people just buy into it. Oh, well, they're the experts, they're the experts. They know what they're talking about. You're conned. That is a fraud. You are being conned, unfortunately.
Straight up. And they're all being conned and manipulated, lied to, cheated, bamboozled, walked down taking a long walk down a short pier, and they're over here looking at us going, you guys are con artists, you're a cult, you're liars. And meanwhile, they're being so deceived, it's unimaginable. But they have no clue till. And you can always look at your followers and tell who's telling the truth. I mean, if you've got Shanny for Christ, Thick Shades, and David Weiser as your cheerleaders, you need to really wake up.
Wait, if you've got JD as your
And JD, right?
cheerleader,
And Fiona.
yeah, you need to worry about what it is they're cheering you on about.
Yeah, you need to really take a look at it and go, wait a second. Look behind you, go, what? How is JD, Shanny for Christ, Thick Shades, David Weiser, Fiona, Steve McCraw? How are these my fan base all of a sudden? I used to hang out with Rand Campbell, Teal, Tanya, Iron Cross, Raw, Veckel. What happened? Why am I surrounded by this? What's going on here?
I don't know. I remember before becoming an atheist, there was a lot of Christians that did like Skype calls and had conversations and Bible studies and fellowshipped with one another. And there wasn't all this hostility. Sure, there was disagreement, but it wasn't all this drama and hostility. It's unfortunate.
We used to have fun. We had fun. I mean, you know, I've been in my beefs with Raw. I've been in my beefs with Shanny. I've been in my beefs with you and Tanya. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's just it's frivolous. It really doesn't, you know, need to hold the kind of weight they let it hold. Ever since Shanny got involved with that what's her name? Hillary Pugh. Shanny is convinced I'm not a Christian. You know why? Because in a conversation that I had privately with Hillary, I was struggling with the Lord. I was going through some rough times. My 18-year relationship just ended. My business just crashed, and I was living in a room all by myself, completely upset with my life. And I had said that, yeah, I'm just, you know, playing with people's heads on YouTube, and I'm not really a Christian. But of course I'm a Christian. I said that in a conversation that was really just a silly conversation. And even Hillary knew I was a Christian. Hillary knew. Hillary's like, no, Rand, you're a Christian. She knows. But when Hillary swore this, I don't know how she swears this, but she thought we were in a relationship, of which we were not. But she swore that I must have pocket dialed her from my cell phone, and she heard me with another woman. And so she went ballistic and got a hold of Shanny and says, help me take down Rand Campbell. And she gave Shanny all of our private conversations. And then Shanny aired them on a video, all of my private conversations. And from that moment forward, Shanny has hated me. And it's sad because how am I the bad guy that you take my private conversations and air them publicly? I don't even, to be honest with you, I don't even know why anybody would have any interest, to be quite honest, with anybody that takes private conversations that weren't even with them. In other words, if somebody said to me, Teal, hey, you want to get Teal? I got a private conversation she had with Wes Truther 2 years ago. Let's take that conversation and put it all over the internet. What kind of a human being would I be to do that?
One thing is for sure, you'd be risky.
Right? Like that would be just, for me, that's like, I wouldn't even associate with anybody that would do that. I just wouldn't do that. I don't know how you could even want to be with somebody or friends with somebody that would take another human being's private conversations and publicize them. I'm shocked.
Well,
that, you know,
trust is definitely questioned at that point. You know what I'm saying?
I just wouldn't. I wouldn't get involved with them again. But Shanny thinks I'm wrong. It's you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the WikiLeaks email exposure of Hillary Clinton and all of the Pizzagate pedophilia stuff that was showing up in her emails, and they're mad at Julian Assange for exposing the emails and not at Hillary for what was in the emails. You understand? It's crazy.
Well,
but that's the world we live in.
I mean, the thing is you know, Peter denied Christ 3 times, and it's not as if Christians don't struggle sometimes with their faith, and like in my case, went completely backwards with mine, and you know, fell away from the faith for 4 years. So it's not as if, you know, it can't happen that someone's struggling and says the things that you said in private. That doesn't. I'm convinced you're a Christian because I've seen fruits of the Spirit from you, and I've seen them a long time ago. And I seen, when I was an atheist, I seen all those posts of you in the private stuff, and I still wasn't convinced that you weren't a Christian. I thought you were genuine in your position, all the same.
Yeah, well, anybody that knows me knows I love the Lord. I went through a hard time, as most Christians, you know, at some point are going to have their struggles. Look, I remember I was so angry at God in those days, Teal, that I had to go back to an old company that I helped build. I literally had to go back to a company that I built and ask them for a sales job so I could just sit at a desk and sell and get my financial affairs back in order. And I was staying at my daughter's, who has 5 kids and every Jamaican drug dealer in the neighborhood coming in her house all hours of the night. And it was just a very frustrating time for me. And I can remember being in my car and missing my exit on the highway. I was so deep in thought, and then pulling my car over and yelling and screaming at God that it was his fault that I missed my exit. Like, I mean, I was really, really angry for that year. It was about a year that I was really, that was actually the night. Oh, we're going to get sniped. That was actually, oh no, that's Wes. That was actually the night that you and I had that argument with J.D. Kane about homosexuals. Remember? And J.D. Kane's, you know, his video, my first encounter with Ray and Campbell. It was in around that time. Where I was that night was at a friend's house. I left my wife that day, and when you and I had that encounter, and I was really not in a good place, to be honest with you. But you know, the Lord obviously got me through it, and I'm certainly in a much better place today. But you're right. You know, as Christians, if you're not struggling, if you're not having those I hate God moments, if you're not yelling at God or questioning God or arguing with God or fighting with God, well, I got to be honest with you. I'm not sure you're serving the correct God, because you have to have moments where in this life where you're mad at God and you're frustrated and you're speaking to God like he's your father and you're a rebellious child, because that's what we are. We're rebellious children.
Yeah,
I'm certainly a lot less rebellious now.
The scriptures
right?
definitely talk about, you know, chastisement of God's sons and daughters. And you know, I think that we are going to go through those times as well, because it ends up building your faith even more when you do go through those times. Unfortunately, it took me 4 years, but a lot of times it's not as long for, you know, certain members in the body of Christ. But you know, you have
I'm a way stronger Christian today.
Was it Jacob? Yeah, I believe it was Jacob that wrestled with God. And you know, you see in scripture at times, you know, even Abraham reasoning and trying to argue a point with God. So, you know, I can completely understand. I've been there, so I can understand the doubts and the questions and even the anger. And you know, I was angry with God prior to becoming an atheist, I was angry at God because of the suffering that goes through. I didn't understand the positives that can come from the suffering of this life, and that it's temporal and will be rewarded, you know. So I was really mad at him for that, and that's what started my journey. Now I was more upset with the Father, you know, not Christ of the Trinity, but the Father. I had issues with some of the things in the Old Testament that I didn't understand and everything, but I still was holding on to Christ for a while before I completely turned my back on Christ as well. So,
well, did I ever tell you when I first became a Christian, when I first got on YouTube, I was in a chat room or some kind of, I don't know what it was, but we were talking about Leviticus and you know, stoning children that are rebellious and stoning men that sleep with men and blah, 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 blah. And I was a young Christian and I had the fight in me. I just didn't have the knowledge. But, you know, at the end of the discussion, it was like about an hour, 2 hour discussion. It exhausted me trying to defend God on those issues. And I was laying on my couch kind of with my eyes closed, just laying there. I was at home alone. My dogs were there, but my wife was out. And I was, yeah. All right, brother. I was at, my stepson's going on. I was at a place on the couch just kind of at peace, but frustrated. And I said this deal. I said to God, how do you expect anybody to defend you on that? Like, I love you. Don't get me wrong. I'm a Christian. I love the Lord. But how do you expect any one of your disciples, any one of your children to defend the book of Leviticus? And I swear, God is my witness. I felt a breath on my right ear. I was laying on my back, and I felt a breath on my right ear. I tried to open my eyes, but I couldn't. And all of a sudden, a voice started speaking into my ear in a deep, but very calm voice. And it said these words. It was the only way I could separate the wheat from the chaff. And then I opened my eyes and looked around, and there was nobody there. And I had never heard the word chaff before. I didn't even know what it meant. And so I went to the computer and I Googled chaff and found out that, you know, on wheat, there's the wheat, which is the value. That's what you want. That's the produce. That's the fruit. And the chaff is the garbage. It has no value. And I realized God's wisdom is by far much greater than my own. And I didn't even attempt to argue it ever again. I just know that, you know, God knows what he's doing. I have no clue.
right. I've realized that as well, that the more I learn, the more I realize I need to learn more, and the more I realize I don't really know squat. That's basically the way that it goes for me. I know some things, but I don't know near as much as I once thought I did, if that makes any sense. So,
well, no, because I think we have to, as Christians, and especially as truthers. I don't even know if I came up with this phrase or if it was already around. I feel like I came up with it, but probably not. We go through an unlearning stage where we have to unlearn things. And especially when you start getting into these truths and you start researching this world that we live in and the education system and the conditioning and the influence and all of the stuff that we have had just stuffed into our heads. And it's there. And we have to unlearn a lot of things. I had to unlearn almost everything I ever learned, Eve. I had to literally go back my entire life and go, okay, I have to unlearn this. And you have to repaint the room. You have to reorganize the furniture. You have to relocate. You have to change your address. You have to change your friendships. You have to change yourself. Everything changes. And until you're courageous enough to accept that, there is no way in the world you're going to be able to unlearn the conditioning. And when you unlearn this conditioning, there is a real truth in that it's a fresh start. I remember in the movie Forrest Gump. One sec. I remember in the movie Forrest Gump, the girl says at New Year's Eve, she says, "I love New Year's Eve. Everybody gets a fresh start." And that's what I feel about the truth. You get a fresh start. When you unlearn this world, you're given a fresh start. Go ahead, Wes. Sorry about that.
I just wanted to say it's a revelation to me. It's like an apocalypse. When you wake up and you feel like you can, it's so much simpler to discern, to tell what's right and what isn't, and what's real and what's not. The dimensions and stuff is a different story. I'm talking about the obvious things that your senses channels into your thought. When you wake up,
I agree. Yeah.
It's an apocalypse to me, like the flat Earth. When Daniel 12 is actually my best friend. He's my best human friend, and when he told me that the Earth was flat, that he thought the Earth was flat, and I should check it out, I was in the middle of a move, and only thing I could do, he told me, I think he told me to read the first 6 verses of Genesis 1 and read it like I had never, and forget everything I learned in school about where the continents are, where the north, the south. He said, forget everything you know about geography and history of geography. And I was able to block it out, and I read it openly. And then the sheer mention of flat Earth into my thought process, and then going to the scriptures, it just flowed right over me like, I don't know.
Hold on a second, Wes. Who did you say this was?
Daniel 12. He's been coming to your channel since.
Yeah, I know who that is.
Yeah, and there's a lot more to him than meets the eye. I'm proud to have him as a friend. I can tell you that he's a good human being, man. He really is.
Yeah, he seems nice from the interaction that I've had with him as well.
Yeah, I hope he's on here right now, but I haven't seen him on here. I think he's watching something.
He was on earlier, but yeah, I haven't seen him this time around.
He is very knowledgeable, and he can apply metaphors. I've never been around. I've been around a lot of people. I've never been around anybody that could apply metaphors to so many in-your-face things that we have today. And these people, and Teal, I got a lot of respect for you. And you ain't no dummy on nothing. You know your way around the book. But it was Jacob. He was wrestling with what he thought was a man, but it was actually an angel. But that ain't no biggie. And but the people thought it, somebody just pulled up in my driveway. I'm gonna just mute myself. Y'all give me just a break, please. Sorry about that.
All right, no problem.
I'm gonna try to remember where I was, because I think somebody was waiting for me to give a punchline, and I ain't to it yet.
Wrestling with the angel.
Okay, gotcha.
Turn off your camera, Wes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, based on what Wes was talking about, that once you come out of the deception, once you see the deception for what it is, he's exactly right in as far as being able to determine what is real, what is not, what is lies, what is truth. Because, and I don't know everything, that's for sure. I've still got a lot of growing to learn and truth to chase after. But what it does is God's truth eliminates all the confusion that the world brings and Satan brings. And that's exactly what they do. They keep, and the elite, which are, in my opinion, just Satan's minions, they keep people, they give them misinformation, exaggerated information, lies mixed with truth. They give them all these things because that keeps people confused and not sure of what is real and what is true. And once you start seeing the deceptions, once God guides you to show you the deceptions and to reveal his truth, it's a lot simpler to see things how they really are.
Just the mailman, Wes?
Not sure yet, Dustin. How's it going, Justin?
Hey, what's up, Brian?
Not much, Chief.
I seen Wes was on, and so I
Good evening.
see what he had to say. How's it going, Wes?
Hey, you guys go ahead. I'll watch.
It was a Swan. It's a Swan truck.
All right, Schwan man.
We just got $300 and some worth of groceries, and our freezers were so full we couldn't even get another loaf of bread on. I had to put a cherry pie on the counter on underneath the one that was only half eaten. We got to hurry up and get to going on them.
You can send me the cherry pie. That's all good.
We have an abundance. We have an abundance, and I think it's because we try to live clean and live right, and try to give a handout. You know, we do things that we don't talk about for others out away from the home. And I got a stray with 6 little babies in here right now. I'm gonna get them taken care of. And
Hey, Wes, I
Yeah,
don't want to get you on a long tangent or nothing, but what are the symptoms of, in your opinion, of these frequencies you talked about? Because I often have a lot of discomfort in my mind at times when I'm different certain days, worse than others, and I always hear ringing in my ears.
yeah, you're susceptible. Do the pitches change? The hertz, the pitch is an old-fashioned term for me. The frequency.
Yeah, I play guitar, so I know what you're talking about. But
So you can go up on one end and down on the other end and create abnormal conditions. And what they do is they use those frequencies to take our checks and balances in our body. Every little million working parts, they have a check and a balance. They have like a positive and negative, and like an equalizer. That's the way our bodies operate. They operate just like a high amp equalizer, and these frequencies can throw the equalizers off and make our bodies. They can make 50% of our body act normal, and 50% go so far in the abnormal direction that people will grab you off the street, throw you in a nut house. You would be amazed at what the good people that they have attacked with frequencies and ruined their life, ruined their reputation.
no, but I was talking about with your experiences mostly.
I hear voices, and I see things around me, which I really think, since the frequencies have to do with colors and vision and what we see, then the things that I'm around me, even though they move, they're like shadow beings or something. They make no sound, and their movements are like something you would see on an alien movie. Some of them, I mean, they leap great distances. They're real quick. They're agile. They can jump and cling and hang to almost anything. And
Does it invoke fear?
oh yeah, it can make you paranoid as heck and keep you from sleeping. They've been working on the glands. I get ISO potassium iodide. I've been on it now for some years because when I was living in the state of Oregon, they were misting me so bad some nights. I know they had to be using drones because they would have been killing those terrible people that lived across the valley from me. And I wish that all that would have been different. But I have some really bright flashlights. I mean, bright ones. And I've shined them into the air, with these chemicals at nighttime, and the particulates are circling in so many different directions and at different speeds. It looks like something that you would imagine seeing if you was in an Arctic region and the wind was like whipping up to 100 miles an hour in every direction and things were flying every which way you could think of. It is what they can do with these particulates in the air. They can destroy the human body. I mean, they can beam you and kill you, drop you dead. My golly, one of the people that was with Albert uh, uh, doggone it. Oh man, I hate to not remember. I hate to get a brain block on somebody's name.
Oh yeah, I was supposed to remind you too about wrestling with the angel.
Oh, yeah. I forgot my train of thought completely on that right now. I'd never get it back. That wasn't the topic. It was just that when Teal mentioned it, it came back to me the story because it was pretty cool. I liked it, and but I forgot what I was talking about before that. It had something to do with the flat Earth and how it rolled over me and came over me and was an apocalypse for me in my life. But it has me to the point now that I can see things for what they really are so fast and so clear that I've got to be borderline the men in white coats condition, because I can't go out in public and talk to people nowhere. I I rattle people, and it's because I think I'm brutally honest. It ain't that I'm trying to be a smart butt or nothing, or I know more than anybody else, because this was given to me. I have a friend who unlocked a door for me, and when I looked in that room right there, a whole new thing opened up for me. And I had been needing something all of my life to make me believe in the Bible, believe in the Word of God. And the other books in that Bible that's not written in that Bible, those things give you strength too. The majority of them give you immense strength and more knowledge. It fills in some blanks. I highly recommend, if someone has the time and can do it, to read those. But it got a hold of me, and then I wondered what had shaken my tree so bad about the flat Earth. And then I added two and two, and it was simple for me to tell that I had a religious, spiritual type awakening. I used to tell everybody, yeah, I go to, because I did, I went to church a lot. And I got letters before where I missed one Sunday one year, or got tithing letters. And but anyway, I went in a lot of different directions while I was still going to church and was in the middle of the church. My thing was, people could tell with my life how it was that I needed a helpmeet. And the problem is every time I tried to get a helpmeet, which it takes a pressure off me. It makes it easier for me to focus on the Word of God. Now, it may not sound exactly right, but it really does. It cuts off 75% of the outside world, and when I can focus all of my attention at my home, that's the ticket. Everything kind of originates and starts at home. And every time I went for a helpmeet, I wasn't doing what the scriptures told me to do. And it never worked. And now I done got past it. I'm too old for it now. I mean, I'm older than Sarah and Abraham. But
Wes, don't you also experience a state of truth, or I mean, a state of peace, from your belief in Christ and everything?
it's unbelievable. I used to be. I had some real, I hesitate to say this, but I know that big feet are real creatures, and I know that dog men are real creatures. Who exactly made them, from what, and from what? I won't speculate much further on that. But there is so much that people take for granted, and they're not serious enough about it. And so the flat earth for me has been something that gave me the strength. And even though these frequencies are down on me, and I ain't going to lie and say that I think I have told people before that if you've got a lot of Holy Spirit in you, that Holy Spirit will fight them frequencies off. But I'm telling you, Bubba, them things hurt. They make the glands in your neck move. They give you pains in the side over your left ear, move around to your eyeball, pain straight down in the top of your head. I actually believe, I saw some videos and some research that I was doing some years ago, and I actually believe that their supercomputer beast is so analytic, for lack of a better word, that they can take the tiniest portion of your body. Do you know how sometimes in the very center, next to your nose, or in the outer edge of your eyeball, where your lashes, where your lids come together, you'll get a super little itch? Have you ever had that? I mean, it's the itch is like, what in the world could that be?
No,
That's,
but I've had my eye twitch
you've had what?
for a long time, but I don't know.
But anyway, they can pinpoint the tiniest place on your body and make it feel like there's something under your skin moving around. That's how precise these people can. I got something out of a video that said that the heart machine could penetrate the Earth's surface for a distance of 1 mile and take one of 4 people out who were sitting at a card table. Could take one out, and I reckon it meant the other 3 didn't die. But a mile, the heart machine can penetrate the Earth's surface at that time, that video, and those videos were stolen from my computer. They come in on the barcodes. Y'all, everyone needs to know that, just like your channel. Y'all need to be real careful, and you should be careful with these people who are coming on this channel and messing with y'all. Y'all got a good idea, you got a good thing started here. These people don't work for, these people are bad people. They're trying not just to distract people away from what we consider the truth, but they're trying to upset and blow everything and get you to do something so they can do something, because they have the evil ones that are helping them think of ways to get this channel in the trick sack. So don't play into their games. I learned real young, you can't argue scriptures. You can't argue it. All you have to do is get the book and both of you look at it at the same time, end the story. And so you can't argue with these people. You're feeding and you're distracting your own people by giving them the, my mom used to use that term all of the time, the satisfaction of a response, but she had another way of saying it that is more, sounds more educated. But I wouldn't give them so much time of the day. And that one guy, G-Man, I really would like to ask him some simple questions and give him a chance to answer without me saying a word. Simple, just questions. Ask him, do you know what one of these is? Have you ever seen this? Do you know anything about this? Have you ever worked doing this? That's what I'm talking about, those kinds of questions. And if he would answer me in a fairly good way on the majority of them, I think I could reach that guy, man, because somebody's putting peer pressure on him somewhere. Because y'all done laid a lot of stuff, but he's also, you fed his, he's got a, I left it in a comment, nobody said anything that I remember. He is not, it's not going to be easy for him to accept that he made a mistake about something, because he evidently has a lot of people looking up to him who is familiar with the argument that he is in the middle of with some of you guys here. So, but he's worth reaching since he knows so many. Because, see, I used to be into the Navarro, and man, how could I go to the flat earth without apologizing to everybody for leading him so crazy over Navarro? And I'm not saying that it's a complete fabrication and total impossibility. I'm just saying that my revelation, my apocalypse, Navarro is like, it's like a 2-day used toothpick. I can let it go without worrying about it. I don't believe all that stuff anymore about the earth bobbing. I don't believe all of that we're going to lose our minds because of the frequencies coming off of Nabaru, because the frequencies are coming off of our earth right here with us. There's a bunch of bad people doing it to us. And they're mean, perverted, freaky people, man. The evil has got in them, and they have excelled in evil. If you could think of the nicest person that you ever knew or ever heard of, and you had actually witnessed things yourself, and so you held that person in a high esteem, for somebody to come along and say, oh, she molested her sons when they were 11 and 12 years old and all this kind of stuff. I mean, that's going to fly right on by your head. You ain't going to go for none of that stuff. And these people out here have a following, and their vanity. It's if you're trying to be honest, then by golly, you got to set your vanity aside. And for me to tell, because I had a handful of people, man, that liked my Nabaru videos, because I was into every Nabaru. You wouldn't believe what my library is. I bet you I can honestly say I have at least 2,000 Nabaru videos on stored, at least 2,000. And but I've had gigabytes stole from me. I had 450 or 460, somewhere in that neighborhood. I didn't know the exact count, but I had 320 gigabytes stolen another time. This is Microsoft IBM stuff. This is people who can access your computer with the electromagnetic frequencies, which will power your machine. You can unplug, I'm telling you now, believe it or not, you can have an apparatus that's built within probably the last 10 years and unplug it. And if it has to do with communications or something, and these cell towers or anything like that has a way at it, they can power that machine up and do anything, take anything off of it and put anything on it while you're on a vacation or while you're in the shower or while you're asleep. And you can have it unplugged from the wall. I posted a video on my channel about my computer running and type changing, both my hands off the keyboard and my plug unplugged from the wall. And people said, man, you do have some spooks in your house. But if you've got a truther channel, they're going to try to shut you down. And even the Christians, because the poor Christians, the ones who think they're Christians, the ones who tell people they're Christians, the ones who are even proud of their goodness, of their Christianity, they can't deny the flat earth. They need to immediately silence themselves until they check it out on their own without any outside interference. And if they're Christians, they're going to come around to it. They're not going to want to accept it. It's going to be a nasty realization to them. It's going to be hard for them to accept and virtually impossible to believe. They're not going to want to think that. It's going to confuse them so bad their minds are going to shut down. They're not going to be able to calculate or interpret the thought. Critical thinking is blown out the window. They will shut down. And they'll go into denial. And then, like G-Man, they may get to the point they want to become argumentative just because they have a strong spirit, even though they're wrong, or even though they may be wrong. They got a strong spirit and they're not going to give up. If you're going to reach somebody like G-Man, you've got to reach him on a man level, and then you've got to reach him on a realistic human level. That's what you got to do first. You got to give him things. You got to ask him if he knows about things to make sure that he understands what you're talking about, and then describe or explain something or give him an instance, and then ask him to elaborate and discuss. Y'all can reach him. And if he's got a following, as much as y'all talk about him, I know y'all like him. As much as you know, regardless of what is said, reach him. But do it in a different way. Give him a chance, because the scriptures say that if you're wrong, your words will be confounded, especially when you think you're in the spirit. If you think you're in it and you're trying to blab something, your speech will be confounded. I get it, because I'm not void to vanity. But if I know that I'm wrong about something like Nabaru or something like that, I'm going to fess up. I don't monetize, and And I'm certainly not in a popularity contest. I do it for the people because I never really done nothing so good for nobody before. Now I'm old and I can't do nothing even for myself. But as long as I got a computer and there's people out here who want to know, I know it is. So I'm going to tell them what I think that I know, but I also encourage them to use the scriptures and check it out. It's just like Miss Teal said. Check the scriptures. If you hear something, first you need to listen. Don't just block it out because you don't like the voice or you don't like the person's face or their attitude. Cocky. I mean, people are cocky. People are arrogant, and they're vanity, and that's why they can't humble themselves to God, because they got to eat their vanity. They have to melt their spirit. They got to, golly day, man, I hate to say this, but if you don't, God ain't going to move until people beg him with tears, until people are going to, my golly, you're going to have to cry tears to where your eyes are like electric hot lines or streams of electricity. Your eyes are going to hurt. You're going to feel like somebody stuck hot wires into your eyeball sockets. Your tears are going to burn you. You got to humble yourself. God he's a big, serious spirit. The spirit of spirits. He's the head spirit. What does the commandment say? He doesn't say there's no other gods. He doesn't say there's no other spirits. By golly, there's places in the Bible God has actually sent evil spirits. He has sent terrible spirits to inflict upon people. But no one, ain't no big deal. Ain't nobody got to say anything about it. But it is in the Bible. It's in the King James Version and in some of the other books too. But people are going to have people don't know how to subject themselves to God, but they will subject themselves to a traffic officer. They'll go into a court. I've done it. I've stood in traffic court and trembled. I've had people that knew me, was sitting in the bleachers, told me, said, man, you look like you were cold. You were shivering and shaking. And it wasn't cold. That's how nervous I was. But that'll never happen again. I lost that also with the flat earth. That it went right away. There is nothing about man that scares me. I ain't worried about none of that stuff. I'm not saying that I'm thinking exactly right about it, but I'm just not worried about it. When you realize that the Bible is really true, that's your chance. That's your shot. Because our lives now, 60 to 80 years or so, that's I don't know. I'm hoping to have a chance to do something for a longer period of time that I really like doing. I like to have me a nice herd of wild animals somewhere that all got along with each other. None of them didn't bite or fight or anything, and I could walk all around them and be pals. That'd be kind of cool for me. The lions and the tigers and the bears, oh my. But the flat earth, I know ain't nobody talking, and I'm telling you right now, Randy, I don't mean to be hogging the floor, man. The flat earth is a spiritual awakening. It's a revelation. It's an apocalypse. It is the strongest. It's the greatest thing since sliced bread, babies.
No, I agree, brother. God, listen. It caught my attention a long time ago. And I'll tell you how it started with me. And this is many, many years ago. My daughter says to me, Dad, how are planes able to fly but not fly off the planet? If they kept doing a straight line, wouldn't they fly off the planet? And that's when I started to research, and my research led me to truth. And unless you're looking for truth, I would suggest you don't do research.
Yeah.
If you're looking for lies, you don't have to do research. You just got to just turn on CNN, Go watch some NASA, spinning globe videos. Turn on Oprah, Dr. Phil. Stay up late, watch some Letterman, some Jimmy Kimmel Live. Watch the Kardashians. Turn on some Beyonce and some Jay-Z. If you're not interested in the truth, then just continue with your ear to the world. And you'll never, ever get the truth. You won't have to worry about it. But if you really want the truth, you have to bow your head before the Creator, and you have to say this: Father, I don't want to be of this world. I've been in and of this world. I don't like this world. It has only lied to me. It has deceived me. It has hurt me. It has bamboozled me. It has cheated me. And it has stopped me from worshiping you. I don't want this world anymore, but I'll tell you what I do want, Father. I want the truth. If I'm going to pick up my cross and be a disciple of you, I want to be a warrior. I don't want to be a Sunday Christian. I don't want to be a parking lot bazaar Christian. I don't want to be a cookie and ice creams Christian. I want to know the truth. If I'm going to be a disciple, I want to be a warrior in the truth. So tell me the truth. What is going on in this world? And then turn off your TV. Turn off your radio. Get rid of all of your DVDs and your CDs and your music discs and start really praying and spending quiet time with the Lord. Because when you spend quiet time with the Lord, He loves that. That is obedient worship. And there is nothing greater than obedient worship. The definition of worship by its greatest divine definition is to be obedient. And when you have a little moment in your day, or if you have a little spot in your home, if you guys have ever seen, I don't think it's called Prayer Warrior. What is it called again? Yeah, I guess it's Prayer Room or War Room. It's a Christian movie called War Room. And it's unbelievably good, because this woman is a prayer warrior, and she has her war room, which is her prayer closet. And she goes to war against Satan in that closet in prayer. And I am telling you, if you guys get out of the world, like I'm talking, get out of the worldly nonsense. Who cares about the sports, and who cares?
You say that's a movie, Randy?
You know what I mean, Wes? Like, who cares about who wins the World Series, the Super Bowl, the Stanley Cup? Who cares who the champion in boxing is? Who cares about, going to Mars and snooping around on the moon? And it's all garbage. Even if it was true, of which it's not. It's garbage. Why would I care about watching a bunch of egotistical baboons getting in a tin can and flying to another planet to kick dirt around to see whether or not we can create another life environment there, when God has already given us the greatest place to live in the history of the world? There is no better place than here.
Randy,
we can't even take care of this.
Randy, I'll confess one thing to you here, man. If anybody had a mind to smile or to chuckle about something, all they got to do is get in the right mood for it, and put on something of NASA, man. Put on something about NASA, because all of them things, it's funny to watch that stuff anymore. It's just, it's funny.
When you see through all of the acting, and when you see through all of the stupidity, and you see through it all.
And then you think about it, there's a whole lot of other people still eating it up, man.
They think it's real.
Of course. I did too, Randy. I think, except I had a problem with the moon landing. And see, when I was aboard Destroyer in San Diego in '65, I was told at the end, right at the turn of 1966, that our CIA are the ones who assassinated John F. Kennedy. And I found that hard to believe. And but I found out later, and I even have I've got a video that I posted on my channel that actually shows William Greer, the driver of the limo, turning around and shooting Kennedy, I'm assuming in the left cheek or the left eye, that area, and just finished him off after he was already hit. And he shot him with his left hand with his service semi-automatic pistol over his right shoulder. He just turned a little bit in the seat and shot him right in the face. And we still got people that's jerking that all around today. And the people that are covering up all of this kind of stuff are not Christian people. And the whole country has gone slap crazy. And the scriptures, I look at them sometimes and I think the scriptures are repeating themselves. That when I was young, people told me that history repeats itself. And people today tell me, well, you're talking about scriptures that are thousands of years old. How can you apply that? What makes you think that's going to happen today? Because they wrote about it happening 2,000 or 3,000 years ago. And what do you think? It's going to happen again the exact same way that it did in the scriptures? What's your point? And that is a difficult question to answer somebody other than using the word prophecy. And then they want to tell you, well, so-and-so and so-and-so is not listed as one of the prophets. So they want to keep arguing the Bible instead of just letting it flow what'll catch. But the sad part is that some of these people that are playing these games, they'll never get it. They're not meant to get it. And even when the times get rough and start squeezing the blood out of them, they're still not going to get it. They're not going to have anything in them. They weren't born with it. They are not, I would use the word designed, but I ain't going to say that. They're not delegated, or it's not meant for them. The scriptures tell you that everyone is not meant. Everyone's not called. Some people are just going to, I don't know what it is about them. It's like they came here, they existed for nothing, or they were lost when they got here. I can't explain that part, but the Bible does say in more than one place that some people will never get it. They're not meant to get it. Just like it tells you don't pray for those. Shake the dust off your feet and move on a lot of times. Casting your pearls at the feet of swine. But when you sincerely are trying to reach people, and I moved, like y'all were talking about a while ago, I've moved from state to state, tried to change and make new friends. And then it got to where I couldn't even buy a friend. I mean, I couldn't buy a friend. I couldn't give them clothes. I couldn't give them money. I couldn't pay them extra money for doing things for me or nothing. I'm not talking about like buying I'm talking about getting somebody to work for you, do the normal working things for you. And you couldn't make friends with them. It's like, okay, I did your job. I got your money. Adios. When you're trying to be a good person and you're giving people the story that convicts their conscience and they know they cannot submit, they cannot give in. I hate to say this, but it could be possible. It may be virtually human impossible. It may be impossible for a human to give themselves over to the Spirit of God enough. But you got to try. It's what's in your heart. It's not the dog in the fight, but the fight in the dog.
I thoroughly think that some people are reprobates, and I believe that not everybody is meant to be in Christ, but all those that God wants in Christ will be. There will be nothing to stop those that are meant to be in Christ to be in Christ. But I don't believe that's everybody, Wes. Jesus prayed and said, Father, I don't pray for the world. I pray for the ones you gave me.
Yep, I know what you mean. I sure do.
And it sounds sad.
I know.
But But you know, when you watch these Grammy Awards or these Oscars, of which I clearly don't do anymore, but you know, these actors and actresses, you look at the crowd, there's like, you know, 200 or 300 seats, and they pay people to sit in the empty chairs so the place doesn't look empty. In other words, if Denzel Washington gets up to go outside for a smoke, somebody has to go and sit in his seat so that it doesn't look empty. And I believe that that is a very strong possibility here in the world, that there are seat fillers. There are people that are a part of the, how should I put this? They're a part of the play, they're a part of the theater, but they're not a part of the outcome. Do you know what I mean, Wes?
Yeah, Randy, have you and Miss Teal ever had any conversations about the people on your channel? Not just Teal, but have y'all ever had any conversations on your channel about or guests talking about the reptilians and the ones that are supposedly looking and smelling and acting just like humans, walking around in amongst us everywhere, and increasing in numbers because these hybrid children that they're getting, and there's a lot of witnesses, a lot of people are coming forth saying that they bore hybrid children for, you know, for whoever the heck it has to have. But have y'all ever talked about that? Because a lot of these people that are heckling your channel, some of those people not just could be usually it's AIs, but if they're carrying on a two-way conversation and it sounds, and it is a two-way conversation, then it might not be AIs. It might be hybrids.
Right.
Have y'all ever talked about
Yeah, we've
that?
talked about everything. There's probably nothing, especially Rose Patton and I, we're both really deep in the study of most everything from reptilians to deep underground military bases to
That's good.
Project Bluebeam, cloning. Wow. I mean, you probably would be hard pressed to find a subject that we haven't studied. MK Ultra, the Vatican, Satanism, underground tunnels and underground cities, Pizzagate. There's probably I'd be very surprised to hear of something I haven't already heard of.
I stayed away from the Pizzagate. I didn't download any of those videos. I didn't even hardly look at any of it because golly, that's a touchy. I never had no children, but that's a touchy thing with me. That I really believe that attempts have been made to set me up to get me taken off of the street. Now, I'm not saying how, I'm just saying to get me off the street. And I think these attempts have been, I think that these setups have been going on for probably 30 years, and it was hard to make things stick because that's how careful I tried to be all the time. But it was many trips through the judicial system, whether it was acquittals or not.
Listen to this now. What's this guy's name? Pasadonia 83 or 63. He says, how do flat earthers explain leap years on their flat earth?
Is he being funny, or is that, I'm missing the point of that?
I think he's trying to be funny because the same way you explain it on a ball earth is the explanation for a flat earth. If it fits a ball earth, it's a flat earth explanation.
You know, Randy, how can anybody think, man, that the leaves will stay on the trees? Or, I mean, as far as that goes, I put a comment in the section a little bit ago and said that the whole surface of the earth would be blown free of anything that could be tore loose with a 1,000-mile-an-hour wind. I mean,
Oh, just
just
a second. Wait a second. Big L. Big L. You want to debate who about what? You want the black Hebrew Israelites to come on flat out elected and debate what? Look it. I don't debate doctrine. As far as I'm concerned, Jesus Christ is king, period, not period. I'm not interested in arguing about Jesus Christ or scripture with anybody. But let me just end it with this with you. White people are not going to be your slaves on the other side of this thing called life. On the other side of Revelation, I can promise you, whatever you think, you are not going to be having white slaves. That's not the God we serve, and it better not, you better hope it's not the God you serve, that you would spend eternity with white people as your slaves. That to me is so ridiculous that you would even consider it as a possibility, let alone want to debate white people on it, because all you're doing is you are daydreaming about being a slave master. You want to be a slave master. Otherwise, there's no debate. So I would prefer not to have those types of discussions. You're not going to be my slave master, brother. I will be the most rebellious slave you could ever imagine. You're going to have to put the whip to me 24/7. You're going to have to put me in the hot box. You're going to have to hang me from a tree, stretch me between two horses. You are going to have the worst slave of your eternity. You don't want me as a slave, Big L.
what are they saying?
Well, black Hebrew Israelites are under the impression that when they get to heaven, they're going to be controlling the white people, and the white people will be their slaves.
Where did this come in at?
Well, it's just that's the black Hebrew Israelite nonsense. At any rate, I gotta cut this short. My wife's on her way home. We got to work on a sermon. We're going to be preaching to couples at a couples retreat this weekend. And I got to go work on my sermon and get that all in line. We'll come back to do a hangout when I come back after the weekend. I think Paula might do some hangouts. She's more than welcome to. She's got the channel codes, or anybody with the codes can use the channel. But yeah, I gotta go. I gotta get ready to work on this sermon. She's coming home, and we got some studying to do. But I gotta go. I want to thank everybody for coming. Wes, I love you, brother. You have a friend for life. I sincerely appreciate you, Mount. I appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you saying it.
All right, I gotta go. I'm gonna shut this hangout down. You guys have a blessed weekend.
You too, man.
I might come on tomorrow night. I don't know, but like I said, tomorrow night I'll be in Ossawa, and I'll be preaching at a couples retreat. So I might not have any time to come on here.
Tomorrow is the day. Tomorrow's the Sabbath.
No, I'm gonna be. It's all weekend, the whole retreat. I'll be staying in the pastor's house and blah blah blah. So it's gonna be a good weekend. But I'll talk to you guys when I get back.
God bless, brother.
God bless you too, sir.